What's happening, family? Dr. Joe here. Hope each of you are well and blessed. Happy Sunday evening to each of you. And wherever you are, I hope you guys are doing well and blessed. Salute to each of you. So glad you've taken the time to join us for another special Village Chat series. Salute to everybody, to all of the individuals who are part of the process, either the 40 Turn Up or the Journey 3.0 Plus. We salute to you, as well as if those of you who are here and you are visiting, maybe you are a friend, you're a relative, you're an associate, or you just got here. If you're watching this live, I'm glad you're here. If you're watching this later or anytime after July 17th, I'm glad that you are tuning in to Village Chat. So I hope everybody's doing well. We are approaching 2 weeks in. Here we are on the precipice of yet another week, starting a new week, starting a new time. And it's just great how much we've been able to accomplish together in such a small amount of time. For those of you who are watching this and you don't know what the 4-day turn up is, what the Journey 3.0 Plus process is, if you don't know who I am, if you don't know who or what we are, I want you to know that we represent the world's greatest transformational process in the 40-day turn up, as well as the Journey 3.0 Plus. Both processes are holistic processes which help people to transform mentally, spiritually, and physically. It appears to be a weight loss program, but it's not. It's a spiritual transformative process. All right. When you change spiritually, when you make adjustments spiritually, many times those changes can be made manifest in this physical body. So when people see a loss of weight, they're actually seeing a person who's changed their habits, their thoughts, their way of living, their way of being, how they view themselves as well as others. So that's why a lot of people think that this is a weight loss program, but it's a spiritual transformative process. So we want to welcome each of you. So what is Village Chat? Village Chat is great because it gives us the opportunity to spotlight a participant that's in either the 40-day turn up as well as the Journey 3.0 Plus process. We not only spotlight participants, but we also spotlight leaders. We not only spotlight individuals, but a lot of couples, married people, husband and wives are matriculating through one of these two processes as well. So it gives us a great opportunity to kind of show their stories. It's nothing heavy, it's nothing weighty, but it gives us the opportunity to spotlight the stories of those individuals who make this village so special. So I'm excited because I've got a guest who is here with us on this evening. And this guest not only is an active participant, but he is a former graduate of the 4-day turn up. That means that he is in the Journey 3.0 Plus process. And I want to bring our special guest on for tonight, Mr. Bobby Johnson. Bobby, how you feeling, my man?
I'm pretty good. About yourself, Dr. Joe?
I'm doing great. How you feeling on this Sunday evening?
Oh man, like I said, I'm a little nervous, but that's typical. That's typical.
Oh no, you're not nervous. You got it. Well, first of all, man, I want to thank you for being my guest.
No,
and,
thank you for the privilege.
And I'm so excited, man. We got so much to talk about. Got 313 of you guys watching us live. So let's jump in. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you live? Where you from? What do you do?
All right. So again, Bobby Johnson. I'm living in Cleveland, Ohio, but I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. Okay. Born and raised in Dallas, Texas, relocated to Cleveland back in 1995 after I graduated college. Mm-hmm. And essentially been here ever since. Met my wife here, 5 beautiful children, all here raised up. So we're just living life.
Wow. Born in Dallas, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Living in Cleveland.
Yes, sir.
All right. What took you to Cleveland?
All right. Typically, when most people ask that question, I always say you want the short version or you want the long version. I know y'all don't want to be here all night, but the simple, short, and sweet of it all, I just simply say is that God led me to Cleveland. Was coming to the end of my college career. I always wanted to leave the state of Texas, was looking for a direction to go, praying for a direction to go. My sister had relocated to Detroit herself after college. And so I was thinking about heading her way. When we had a conversation, she said my degree was in architecture. So she said she didn't have any hookups for me. So she said she had a friend of hers who uncle owned an architecture firm. She said, but it was in Cleveland. So, I just kind of went before the Lord, just kind of prayed about it. And he just kind of gave me a piece and began to point me in the direction of Cleveland. All I knew was Cleveland was in Ohio. I didn't even realize it was so far up north. I had to go pull out a map to say, wow, where is this place at? All I knew was the Browns.
Wow.
And so essentially, the Lord just began to order my steps that even when I graduated college, it's just a phenomenal testimony. I think I came here. We had mapped out a week in January to come in for some interviews. Just basically came in, made a couple of phone calls. A couple of firms said they're willing to sit down. We came in on, I want to say, a Monday night of that week. By the time I left that Friday, had a job offer, blessed enough to get a new car, and moved in a couple of weeks and been here ever since.
Rest is history. So how long have you been in Cleveland?
Since 95 was that put me, oh my God, my math's about to be bad.
You tipping on
what's almost
27
years, like 27, 28 years, somewhere up in there.
Pushing on 30. So you are an architect
by education. I no longer practice.
Okay. And is that what is your vocation?
Currently I'm a special projects coordinator for the local housing authority police department.
Okay, so tell us what does that consist of? What do you do?
All right, so essentially, you can almost call it accreditation manager. I'm essentially a civilian administrator for the police department.
Okay.
And so what I do is I handle the stuff that they don't want the officers to get tied up into. So essentially, I won't say like I'm paying the bills, but I do procurements for them for goods and services that are needed. Invoices come in, I process those invoices, make sure those invoices get paid. I keep track of towing a vehicle. So if we tow cars, basically, I send letters out, to the owners that say, "Hey, we got your car. If you don't get it in the next 3 weeks, I'm gonna junk it." And so we're just basically just keeping stacks. But the biggest part of the job, the accreditation manager, is there's an organization that's called CALEA, and it's the Commission of Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. And essentially what this commission has done is this commission is made up of several police departments across the country, I believe even in Mexico as well. And so the Board of Commissioners, they've essentially established what one would consider guidelines in law enforcement that they believe are the best practices for law enforcement that departments should take on. And so my role in that process is that each year we have to have an evaluation to prove that we are doing what we said we will do. So, for example, if we have a policy on police chase and we say that, this policy says that we would only do so much and make sure we don't endanger, then I have to provide proof that we're doing just that.
I see.
For example, even say dealing with juveniles, we have a policy in terms of how we approach juveniles and what the facility is supposed to look like for them. So we document that through photographs and through videotapes when we bring juveniles in, and basically, so we just provide proof that says we as the police department are doing just what we said we would do.
Wow. It's so interesting. I'm listening to you, and what you do is so needed. But let me ask you a heavy question about policing and being that you're so intricately involved in the process. Like from your vantage point, I know you probably talk to police officers all the time. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So we know kind of where the optics are in terms of the relationship many police have with African American community, and we know that is not it's not positive in terms of the optics and how it looks. So, Bobby, that they're just like anybody else. You got tons of great, wonderful police officers, and you probably got a few that aren't great. Just like you have people, the vast majority of people are always better than they are the reality. But sometimes those spoiled ones can ruin the bunch. But my question to you is, what do you feel we can do to improve the relationship law enforcement has with the African American community, because at the end of the day, that's going to help everyone. I mean, that's what I think. What do you think, sir?
Well, it's a couple of things, and it's the same way that you pose the question is the same thing that I take back to the office. I read the news just like everybody else. I see the videos, and again, my training and my education is not law enforcement. This was something that essentially I was drafted to do,
Right.
and so I'm pretty much green into it. So everything that I'm learning firsthand. So I go in with the hard questions too. Why did that happen?
Right.
Could we have done this? Could we have done that? And so the biggest takeaway that I see that we as a people relative to law enforcement, of course, is key is communication.
Right.
Communication, and then I would say education. And then we as parents have to get back to training and raising our children the way that they should be trained and raised. When I was a child, we feared the police, and not fear in terms of we were scared of, but we had respect for an officer. I had this conversation just this week. When we watch black exploitation movies such as Black Caesar and Superfly, when they were shooting at the police, we knew it was a movie, right?
Right.
We knew we weren't going to go out and shoot at the police. That was TV. But now the trend has changed where what happens in the movies and TV, folk feel like they can do. They have a right to do. And so we have to get back to, again, to one, dealing at home with parents, with training, to understand and teach our children, our brown boys and our brown young ladies in terms of what's proper etiquette, what's proper roll call, what's proper respect. And I know this millennial generation, how they see respect is kind of different than how we were taught respect. They want to be heard. And I get that they want to be heard, but to be heard, they must first learn how to listen. And so listen, follow the directions. So you have that piece. And then with the communication and the education, and again, that's a community effort. That's a joint effort that everybody has to be willing to take on together to see it come to pass. It's organizations that are saying, hey, we want to be heard. And it's also the police willing to sit down and saying, hey, we're willing to listen. And so I believe at the end of the day, we pretty much all want the same thing.
Right.
In terms of that expression of how we achieve it is what's totally different. Not to try to make it like a civil rights thing, but it's the difference between, you have Dr. King that says, let's do it through peace. And whereas you have Malcolm X that says, let's do it by any means necessary. Right. We just have to find that middle ground where we can all agree on all sides. What's the best approach?
I agree. And I'm looking at a lot of comments in the comment section. People are really receiving what you're saying. You're right. It does come back to parenting because, like you said, when I was growing up, we respected police officers. Mm-hmm. And even to this day, if I'm ever in a position to where a police officer is approaching me, it's been a long time, but I always let that police officer know that I understand that he or she is in a position of authority. That's not submissive, but it's respect. And what I've noticed is when I do that in listening and turning down my radio, rolling down my windows, speaking politely, 99.9% of the time, I don't have issues. And to your point, sir, I agree with you. Our kids have to be taught that. So that's a great point you bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great point. Excellent.
And trust me, I've had the same situation. I remember one time me and my son got pulled over. Yeah. I was speeding down a side street. And again, I'm trying to be cool dad, but he don't know I'm about as scared as anybody else. Like, okay, I don't think it's going to jump off. I don't think we about to go guns a-blazing, but nonetheless, it's how you doing, officer? And responding with you. Now, part of that might just be my Southern upbringing with yes, sir, and no, sir, and all that other good stuff.
Right.
But it ended up being a positive situation where no ticket was issued, no citation, just hey, be careful, Mr. Johnson, have a nice day. And then have that teaching moment to say, see that approach allowed me to walk away ticket free.
Mm-hmm. Right. Just having the correct banter. And I feel that's great, man. Well, they've got an asset in you. I know you've done some great things for that office that you serve. So that's wonderful. So let's segue into, you are our first Journey 3.0 plus guest. So we're excited about that. But let's go back to the 4-day turn-up.
Okay.
You are a graduate of MetaMe. You graduated in April, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So talk to us about how did you find out what led you to the 4-day tournament?
This is actually a part of the story that I can almost say that I love to tell.
Okay.
You have a couple of leaders. I'm not sure if they were in Lionheart, but you had previous participants. One of them was a former church member that we're still friends with and on social media. It's all right if I mention the name. It's all right. All right, Sister Annette. All right, so Sister Annette was started posting pictures on Facebook, similar to what I've been doing, and I noticed the change. It's like, whoa. Now, again, you have that first question: is she sick? Everything all right?
Right.
But she can't be sick because she's smiling. You see the joy. So I reached out to her, and this is just an honest moment. It's an honest moment, Dr. Joe. Don't take offense to it. So I talked to him, and she said, there's this pastor in Atlanta, and God gave him this vision, to help the saints with losing weight. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go. And again, being a man of God myself, I'm trying to be spiritually sensitive, but not trying to be religious. It's like, okay, what we about to say, what's the gimmick? So she shared with me a little bit of information, and I really took it for face value. And I didn't do much with it. Some months had passed. I was at a funeral, and then came across two other year leaders, a Brandon Sims and a Jerry Sims, both also former members of the church. And they look great. And when I say they look great, it's like Brandon looked like when I say this brother looked like a new man, it was like, wow. Jaw dropping, like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? And his response to me was, hey, you remember Sister Annette? Yes. I saw her lose weight. I asked a question, and I felt like I had lost the lottery. It was just like, everybody in the office pool played. You said you ain't gonna play. They hit the number, they won. Mm-hmm. They at home, and I'm still at work. And so when I saw that, it was just like, man, I could be where this brother is had I received the information the correct way. So of course, my wife saw it. And so once wife got a wind of it, it was no but letting it go. It was, we gonna do this. We doing this. I should mention she's also on the journey as well. She's Black Butterfly's named Charlotte Johnson. Shout out to her, wherever she's watching. And so we basically started watching your videos. My third child was out doing college visits, so we spent a lot of time on the road just listening to Dr. Joe, like, wow, just kind of, being amazed at the transformation that you yourself made and hearing about the process. So we just basically registered and just kind of waited our time out. I won't say we didn't have, I'm speaking for myself.
Okay.
We had an expectation, but like you said, the expectation, again, the approach was lose weight, lose weight, lose weight. But of course, once we got in, it really wasn't about the lose weight as much as it was about the information on health.
Right.
And then to begin to make that change. So not to get too long-winded, because I'm pretty sure I probably done morphed into another part of the question, but for the most part, that's how I heard about the program. That's what brought us to it, and basically been taking it one step at a time since then.
Now tell the people, because a lot of individuals have seen you on Instagram. Brother Bobby is one of the great transformations that you guys see on Instagram. And for those of you who don't follow that page, it's IG at Journey Life TV. Tell the people about, I want you to speak, sir, on everything that you got out of it that you feel was valuable to you, the weight loss. How did you change your life?
Oh man, we about to be here for 2 hours, Dr. Joe.
People want to know.
Basically, I'm gonna take it step by step. No, if it really started for me, it started with your pre-work. That in and of itself, I don't care what anybody does, and even with the people that I encourage to come through the process, to sit through those 4 weeks of pre-work to prepare your mental for what's about to take place, there's no words to express. It's valuable. It's almost everything that you need to get through the process. Yes, we can talk about the carbs, the proteins, and the fat. We could talk about the 80-20. We could talk about the water. But if you don't have your mind right, all of that is pretty much goes out the door. And so we got the mentals right. And then for me, I'm results driven. And so what really got me dialed in on the mental side was once we started, to be honest with you, I really thought about quitting. I thought about quitting within Not after the fast. It was after the fast going into that first full week, and not because I couldn't do it, but because I lost my appetite. I lost my appetite, and I felt like my body was starting to have adverse reactions, and I was feeling bad. And then my wife was like, "Well, you need to check your blood pressure." So I checked now I was only checking it once a week when I needed to. Check my blood pressure, and it was like 90 something over 60. She was like, wait a minute, that's a child's blood pressure. That is extremely too low. You need to call your doctor. So I call the doctor, make arrangements. We go in, again, blood pressure's low. And so we're not even 2 full weeks in. The doctor's saying, hey, I'm going to take you off. Now, I'm already on 2 blood pressure medicines. He takes me off of 1 within 2 weeks. Wow. Now I'm listening. It's like, wait, wow. 2 weeks? 2 weeks?
Wow.
Already? Now, mind you, I had lost some weight. I think I was the biggest loser for that week. So, yeah, it was like, okay, I see the weight loss, but that in itself was like, okay, we honor something. And then we keep getting the teachings and the information. I love it. I just love it. It's almost like I tune in, play you while I'm at work, and just let it play while I go to work. Might play you when I get in the car. You know, just getting the information. So apologize, y'all. Dr. Joe, you got to do the teaching on Beyond Me. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Beyond Me?
I thought you would have hit it. All right. Yeah. Serious, that's gonna blow everybody away. And so when that hit, and it's just so much I can say. But in either case, the results were coming in. I'm seeing the process. Even for those, another second, I apologize, y'all. For those of y'all that are traveling and having to go out of town, I had a conference that I needed to go to. I was going to be out of town for a week.
Talk to him, Bobby.
It was like, man, I remember putting in the chat, Dr. Joe going out of town. He like, buy a scale, pack your food. I'm like, I ain't going to nothing like that. These people ain't got no full kitchen. Ain't no stove, there was no microwave in the room. So all I could think of is, how am I going to do this? Went down to Orlando, Florida on a per diem. And for those that don't know what a per diem is, the company's paying for every meal. I'm like, man, what am I going to do? How are we going to do this? So we get there on Tuesday, made it through the day, was disappointed with the selection at Whole Foods. Was fortunate enough that the next day was the water fast. So after the conference, I remember running down to Publix, and Publix had everything I needed. They had the Walden salad dressing. I was able to get a couple of salads, got some yogurt, got a little cheese, nuts, enough to pretty much survive. And literally bought a scale at Walmart and stayed on task. And that was probably about the most I had been on task in the process, simply because I didn't want to come back heavier than what I went. And that was probably about my second best week in the process. I think I lost 8 to 9 pounds that week. And it was just like, again, it was like, you know what? Again, results driven. I see the weight coming off. I see the blood pressure being gone. So now it's like, I can do this. I can do this. So of course my wife is there. She's encouraging me. We pushing each other. Hey, let's do it. And we just kept pushing to get it done. My original goal was essentially only to lose about 50 pounds. And so shout out to my old group leader, Antonio White.
Shout out Antonio.
All of y'all gut busters that's out there that's still listening. Man down, Dr. Casey, we ain't forgot about y'all either. I would just be disappointed. So if we had a weigh in and I lost 2 pounds, I just felt disappointed, because my goal at the end of the day was that I wanted to lose 40 pounds by the end of the tournament. 40 days, I should be able to knock off a pound a day to be down 40 pounds. So I just basically kept pushing myself. And then when we reached graduation, I think I had only lost about 32, 33 pounds. I was disappointed. So glad I made it through, but I was disappointed because I wanted to lose a little bit more. So just kept pressing through. And I knew that I was going to see my doctor. There's 2 doctors I was going to see. And again, y'all, I can be long-winded, so I apologize. That's the preacher.
Bobby, you're good, man. You're good.
So I knew that in that spring that I was going to see my oncologist in May, and I was going to have my annual physical in January. Now I know what you're saying, oncologist, yes. I'm a 9-year cancer survivor.
Oh, praise God.
Dealt with Hodgkin's lymphoma back in 2013. And so it was something that when I would see him, because I had gained the weight, something that he'd always stressed when we first finished chemo was, I think I was 236, was to stay healthy. And so, of course, as time I'm picking up the weight. And so he didn't really stress me about it, but I knew for him, it's like, I want to come in and just blow his mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in and he's just going to be like, my, you know, and that's essentially what he did. I don't think I've, you know, this is it. When I came in, Dr. Stern, and all he could talk about, he was like, what happened? What happened? I see this transformation. What did you do? You know, and it's like, oh, just a lifestyle change, just, decided to eat right and do this, do that. And so told him about the program just a little bit because, I didn't know what all I could say. But he was so excited. So when I got that reaction from him, I was like, well, shit, I'm about to blow my primary care. I'm about to really blow him out. Because I had saw him at the beginning of the process dealing with the blood pressure. And so, I did forget that part of the story, but even with that, I wanted him to see me 50 pounds lighter the next time I saw him.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I go see him on June 2nd, matter of fact, the receptionist, when I walked in, was like, oh my gosh, you look like a new man. I don't even recognize you.
Wow.
Just to sit in the doctor's office when he comes in, he leans in my ear and says, this Dr. O, he says, excuse me, I don't mean to say this, but you look bleep good.
Wow.
And that was just like, yes. And so, of course, I got my wife cheering me on, and they're saying, babe, you look good. The results is coming in across the board, just the health, everything else, everything that you say that will fall in line is basically fall in line. I had 2 kids in college, of course, picked them up, and it's like, Dad,
yeah,
wow, we see it. But even now, it's just was I won't say so much, just pressing through. So once that hit, I gave myself a new goal. It was like, by the time the journey starts, I want to be 210.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said July 1st, because that's what I thought our initial weigh-in been. I was like, I want to be 210. And so by July 2nd, I was 209. And so I just keep giving myself a number to say, hey, this is the number I want to hit. And then just trying my best to hit that number as best as possible.
Well, let me first of all tell you congratulations. I'm so proud of you. We're so proud of you. I mean, everybody in the comment section sees it. I mean, because, for you to, sir, have done what you did, I mean, you really took your health back.
Yes, sir.
Telling how many more years you have extended on this planet to be with your wife, your children, to serve your purpose. And that's just awesome. So I want to salute you. And you're being such a great inspiration, because there are a lot of people who are in the process and they don't really understand it, Bobby. You do. The biggest struggle is the first 2 weeks, because it's within those first 2 weeks that you're doing something that's completely alien to you. And what I love about this group is this group is performing very, very well. So I know that you've said something that has been inspiring. So thank you for that. Let's segue to the journey.
Okay.
And what I want you to hone in on in your own way is how, from your vantage point, is your experience thus far in the journey different from the 40-day turn up?
Well, it's just as you stated, in the 40-day, it was really about lifestyle change, the physical aspect of the lifestyle change. As far as the Journey 3.0 is dealing with the spiritual aspect of the lifestyle change. It's the realization between, okay, I've lost the weight, but if I don't deal with these issues, I might just pick that weight back up. And if I can conquer these spiritual issues, get my spiritual life in order, then my physical life will stay in order. And so that's been the blessing in and of it as well. And, and again, not that you couldn't do it during the 40-day, but getting it this way. And again, using the analogy that you use with our classes in terms of that plot of land, tearing down the old house, leveling the ground, getting the foundation. I'm pretty sure you're going to start talking about framing and all that other stuff before you can even get with the the decorations, you got to get the outside together. And so it's allowing me to scratch surfaces, things that you're dealing with, but you really can't put into words, or you haven't taken the time to put into words. It's just an emotion or a feeling. And it's an opportunity again just to expose that and stomp on the devil's head and move forward.
That's awesome, man. Well, let's talk about your group. Your
Yes,
group
sir.
leader, shout them out, whatever you want to say.
Dr. Casey Kimbrough, man down.
Man down.
Man down.
Dr.
No man
Casey.
left behind. I gotta finish it, right? Man down. No man left behind.
That's what's up. Salute to them. How has it been bonding with those brothers in this journey process?
Oh man, it's great. It really is great. You got some brothers that's really pushing the group, and I enjoy that. It's one of those where no, I won't say that. It's one of those where you watch other people push other people.
Yeah.
And that's encouraging when you have a group that's a group of people, they're all pushers. We ain't pulling nobody along the way. We pushing everybody along the way. And when everybody's pushing, everybody moves forward. Sometimes when you have to pull people with you, it can be a struggle. And sometimes you can get tired, but this group is by far a bunch of pushers. I'm talking about my buddy Mike Burns, Anthony's, all many of the people there just posting pics of their food, they work out. These brothers is talking about swimming. I'm like, man, y'all do that too? Not that black people don't swim, but it's just like, man, how y'all find time to go to the pool and putting some serious laps in?
Yeah. Salute to those brothers. No man.
So it's again, it's not just a simple do this. It's that. I posted a pic today. This weekend, I'm not sure what I did, Dr. Joe, but I knew I weighed Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I turned in a weigh-in on Saturday. But I was looking at the scale, long story short. On Thursday, it was 205.4. Today, it was 203.2. So now I'm like, wait a minute. I done lost 2 pounds, and
Yeah.
I need to turn this weight back in. Let's withdraw that and put the new one in. So I'm like, wow. And again, it's like, okay, I know what I did, but I don't know how I did it. But whatever case, 2 pounds came off. And so one of the brothers misread it. He thought that I had gained 2 pounds. Mm-hmm. And immediately was like, hey, maybe your body's adjusting to the water, and maybe you just literally just came into the rescue. And he was like, oh, I misread this. Oh, you good.
Yeah.
But in and of itself, it's like, yes, that's what the group is supposed to be about. You got a brother that's struggling. He comes to his group, and the group responds and says, hey, we're going to help you through this. And so the group interaction has been good. We've given ourselves a couple of challenges.
Awesome.
Talk about walking in the middle of our meetings. Just, hey, if somebody say they're going to do it, trust, believe. Somebody comes and say, hey, I got it. I'm going to do it.
That's great, man. Wonderful. Well, salute to your team. Now, I want to ask you a question. We're right at 6:34, and it's great. I think you're a perfect person to answer this question because you've already kind of hinted at it. Bobby, a lot of people who are in the 4-day turn up now are in that initial phase, that those first 2 weeks, those are the time, that's the most difficult time, because like we said, people are changing. They're acclimating to new habits, new way of eating, new timing, all of those different things. And what I've always said and what I've always taught people is you have to have that moment when the process clicks. Something has to happen within every man and woman where it's something that makes you full speed ahead, but it's different for everybody. For some people, it can be like with you, maybe it was that blood pressure, when your blood pressure dropped and then your doctor took you off, that could have been your thing. What I would love for you to answer is, what was yours, if that was the case? And two, what would you say to someone who is still searching for that moment? Because what I'm trying to get people to understand is once they push themselves and not play around, they're going to be in, and you're not going to be able to stop them just like you. What would you say to that, sir?
A word that I would use to it is again, to find the momentum.
Yeah.
Find the momentum, find that energy, that momentum that's going to push you. Again, like you stated, for me, I was results driven. And
Yes.
so being dropped from the one blood pressure was like, okay. But I think, truth be told, I know I kind of gave that long story about Orlando, but for me, it was really Orlando because, again, I had any restaurant I could have gone into, Dr. Joe, and
Yeah.
y'all wouldn't have known otherwise.
Right.
Y'all in the restaurants trying to eat 40 days. You can't be, I could have tried to do all of that.
Right.
But when I went down there and found myself in my hotel room,
Right.
eating salads,
Mm-hmm. Right.
trying to do it the right way,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, I'm doing something that normally I wouldn't do. I'd be like, man, forget Dr. Joe. He ain't got to know about this, and I ain't telling my group neither.
Right.
And so it was me seeing discipline kick in.
Yeah.
Not forced discipline, but just self-discipline.
Yep.
Not somebody saying, hey, you better do this, you got to do this. No, again, my wife ain't there, kids, and who's gonna say Bobby was down in Morton's with a steak?
Right.
There's nobody there. The only thing would simply be the scale saying otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And because I had a goal in mind, and let that be the thing. If you have that goal in mind,
Yeah.
let that goal push you and find that momentum. I've got a sister that's in the process. Shout out to Michelle Jameson, Dr. Michelle Jameson. I got a cousin, Arnett Trimble, is also in the process as well. And so I try to encourage them as well, on top of their group leader and their group and their buddy, but just to keep pushing at it, It's like being in the lab. It's an experiment.
Mm-hmm.
What works, what don't work. One of the things that I remember Antonio White telling me when I was complaining about only losing 2 pounds, he was like, scale back on the nuts, scale back on the cheese. Don't eat cabbage. He was like, cabbage holds water. And when I did those, I saw results.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, you gotta tweak. If this is not working, then try something else. Yeah, you might love that, but loving that and it being helpful to you is two totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn how to drink water.
Yep.
It's just, again, when you say drink half your weight in ounces, I was like, man, I was only drinking like 32 ounces a day and I was content.
Mm-hmm.
Now you telling me to multiply that times 4? That's too much. But once you start doing it and you learn, okay, drink water before I eat, drink water after I eat. It helps everything stay fluid. I feel better.
Yep.
I see it coming off. I can tell when I go to the bathroom it's coming off.
Yep.
I get excited to use the bathroom now. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, this is weight. This is weight. This is not water. This is weight. The density of your urine is heavier than water. Yeah. So when you go into the bathroom, it's water. So don't be worried about, oh, I've been peeing. Pee. Be excited. Yes.
Let it go.
Yes, let it go. I'm losing weight. That's what's happening.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, you have such an amazing story, man. I just want to, first of all, congratulate you on taking back your health. You're such a exemplary example of what we want people to understand here in our village in the 4-day term, the Journey 3.0. You're a great participant, and I see leadership all over you in the future. I'm just going to put that out there. Yeah, I see that. I see that. Oh, you're a great communicator. You got a great energy. You got a great spirit. So salute to you, Brother Bobby Johnson. Bobby, thank you for joining me on today. God bless you, sir. I wish you the very, very best. And I know you and I will talk very, very soon. But thank you so much for being our special guest.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Brother Bobby Johnson, gang. Be blessed, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Brother Bobby Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, another stellar interviewee. Want to shout out him and his wife and all of his cousins. So many of y'all saying, this is my cousin, this is my such and such. Shout out to all of y'all. What a great interview. Most times I like to end our discussions on our village chat. I know there are a lot of you who may not be participants, but hopefully you'll be able to still get value from this. There are a couple things in my discussion with Brother Bobby that I want to bring up to you all, specifically to those of you who are within the process. The first thing that I want to bring up is momentum. I want you all to listen to me very, very carefully. When you are going through a transformative process, you have to get results early and often. You have to. If you're a person, let's say, for instance, you're trying to lose weight. If you don't lose weight soon, you're going to fall out the race, and that's what's happening to a lot of you because you're not serious. You're not fully engaged. You're too distracted. You're making other things a priority. It's not because you don't know better. It's not because you don't know what to do. It's not because you don't have the support. It's not because you don't have the accountability. It's because you are not doing what you're supposed to do. You have to have momentum. You gotta find that thing that keeps you in the process. Think about what Bobby said. He said within the first 2 weeks, his blood pressure was too low. And his doctor had to take him off of blood pressure. When something like that happens for an individual, they're hooked. Because you start thinking, if I can do this in 10 days, what can I do in 2 months? What can I do in 6 months? You see, what kept Bobby and what has manifested Bobby's results was not Dr. Joe. It was Bobby. It's just the process that he was matriculating through gave him what he needed to help him realize what he already had. He just needed the guidance. He just needed the push, the accountability, which is what all of us need. So most of you are doing what you're supposed to do, but to those of you who are playing around, you got to stop playing. We're almost 2 weeks in. You got to get something that keeps you in this race. Because if you don't get that something that you need, you're going to fall by the wayside. And what's going to happen is a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, you're going to be reflecting saying, man, I was in that. I had what I needed. I had the guidance. I had the education. I was in my group. I had a lead. I had all of these things, and I didn't use it like I should have. And I don't want any of you to regret that. The second thing that I want to say is I want you all to understand how to give it a full push. A lot of you are doing some of what you've been taught, but not all of it. You're eyeing your food. It's not going to work like that. You're not weighing your food. You know why you're not weighing it? Because you're lazy. You don't want to change. You have every excuse in the world. I don't care. I have worked with doctors, lawyers, attorneys, business owners, government workers, retirees, entrepreneurs. You make time for what you want to make time for. You have to give it a full push. I dare you. Give it a full push. Authentically do everything that I'm telling you. Weigh everything. Measure everything. Cook all the food you're supposed to cook. Avoid all the stuff you're supposed to avoid. Get your exercise. Get your water. I dare you to do it for 7 continual days. You will probably shock yourself. I had one gentleman who came through the process a few times ago. He did everything but exercise. And he heard this same come to Jesus meeting that y'all are hearing now. I'm like, you got to do it. You got to give it a full push. And I asked him, I said, what are you not doing? I'm really not exercising. And I know it because it's difficult to start exercising and you've never done it. It has to be something that's acquired, but it takes time for you to see how it makes you feel and how it makes you look, to love it. But it takes time to get there. It's almost like dating that person that you're physically unattracted to when you first meet them. We've all been there. Let me pause for a second. That's a good one. Is there anybody in the comment section ever dated a guy or girl who maybe was a nice person? Maybe your mama thought that she was good for you. Maybe some of your friends thought that he was good for you, but you weren't physically into him or her. Maybe the man or the woman was attracted to everybody else, but he wasn't turning you on, or she wasn't turning you on. Y'all feel what I'm saying? But over time, they grew on you. You know what I'm saying? And then after time, you connected with them. That's how it is working out. Working out is always going to be, to those of you who don't work out, like dating a person that you're not physically attracted to. It's going to be so uninspiring, so difficult, so time consuming. That's one of the best analogies that I can make. But if you got to stick with it, because, and the reason why you got to stick with it is because you cannot get the lifestyle you want in terms of health and wellness, or the physical look that you want, without it. You cannot have optimal health, heart health, without it. You cannot optimize your life without it. It is a necessary part of existence. In all of the areas of the world where people live the longest, exercise is a fundamental consistency. So keep that in mind. That's the best way I can put it. It's like that man or that woman that you just not physically attracted to. It's hard to, how can I make this I don't want to use puns, and I don't want people to misinterpret words. It's difficult to be excited about a person that doesn't turn you on. Do y'all feel what I'm saying? It's different. Listen, the whole world can think she's the baddest thing ever, or the whole world can think he the finest thing ever. But if you don't feel it, it's a difficult thing to be excited by somebody who does not turn you on. That's how working out is for y'all. But you have to keep going, because it's something that you can fall in love with it, but you got to be continual with it. You have to keep going, even when you don't feel like going. And you'll get to the point to where you love it. It's very cathartic. It's like, if I go to church, I can't go to church without giving God my tithe. I cannot exist in a day without physical exercise. When I don't exercise, my mood is off. My mind is off. My body is off. I don't sleep as good. I don't feel as good. I'm not as happy. My overall sense of well-being, that's all a part of it. I know it doesn't turn you on now, but you got to keep on pressing until you learn how to love it. So back to what I was saying, the person who came through the process who wasn't working out, he gave it a full push and lost 12 pounds the week he started exercising. It all clicked because it's a synergistic type of thing that I've been teaching you. You got to do everything that I'm telling you. You can't go up in these restaurants. Now, let me talk to y'all about you travelers, because I made a statement in our group that a lot of y'all, or some folk, are butthurt, and that's fine. I don't mind that you're butthurt. When I tell you something, y'all get mad at me or you don't agree with me, that's fine. I love y'all. But it's like, I'm not saying I'm your mama or your daddy, but it's like being your mama's house. Were there times that your mama told you things that you didn't like? Were there times that your dad told you things that you didn't like? Were there times that your grandmother, your grandfather told you things that you did not like? Absolutely. You need people in your life who are going to tell you stuff that you need to hear, even though you don't like it. So get mad at me. That's fine. No love lost, because you need that from me right now. You need a motivator and somebody who gonna crack that whip on you. Y'all need it. And I know you need it because that's just how people are. People need that whip cracked. But they need that whip cracked, not in a toxic type of place, but in a place from someone who really loves and wants to see them win. As y'all know, I want to see y'all win. So I'm going to crack the whip on y'all, and I don't care what you say. I'm going to keep on cracking the whip. You understand what I'm saying? Come on, gut and butts. Pow! I'm cracking the whip because I love y'all and I want to see you win. I want to see you win. I want to see more Bobbies. You understand? I want to see more of these great individuals who matriculated through the process. And y'all are there, but you got to give it a full push. You've got to give it a full push. And let me talk about you traveling. And I'm so glad that Bobby, and just so y'all know, whenever I do these village chat conversations, no, we just have a conversation. I don't send people questions. Me and Bobby did not talk about what we were going to talk about on tonight. And you can ask him if you don't believe me. But you remember when Brother Bobby was talking about taking that trip and he was in Orlando, he had per diem, he can go in. He made it happen. And what did he say? He said, that was one of my best weeks. So what y'all are doing, for those of y'all who are traveling, what you're doing is you are not doing anything but sabotaging yourself. And you're giving yourself an out by blaming it on someone. That's the ego. Oh, well, you know, I got to travel. You know, I got to go to a conference. So what? There's not one person who's ever traveled that you didn't know you were going somewhere, whether it was planned months ahead, years ahead, or a day ahead. You had enough time to all you had to do is put yourself in the right frame of mind to say, I'm not going to do what I'm not supposed to do. So y'all were not everybody. Some folk were butthurt. They're like, well, you know, I don't care if it's a conference. I don't care if it's work. I don't care if it's a family reunion. You the same person that makes choices. And when you go on those trips or do whatever you got to do, you make a choice, just like Brother Bobby said. He was in Orlando. He said, I could have gone to whatever restaurant I wanted to go to, and nobody would have known. But what did he do? He made a conscious decision to do what he wanted to do so he could rob the bank for him. That's it. Period. So to all you, I got a conference, I don't care nothing about that. You say it like it's a big deal. So take your scale, pack it with you, plan where you're going, and make it happen. Make it do what it do. Y'all acting like you going somewhere and it's no food to eat or no place. This is America or Africa or the UK. You got access to what you need. So you just got to do what you got to do. Y'all feel what I'm saying? Let me block these folks. Block him. There we go. Now, yes. So Tammy says, thanks for saying exercise doesn't come. I get it, Tammy. Exercise doesn't come easy. It doesn't. It's an acquired taste. It's acquired. But you have to do it. Y'all feel what I'm saying? You have to do it. Now, what else do I want to say? This upcoming Tuesday, let me give you the schedule of events. We got an action-packed week. We got an action-packed week. Tomorrow morning, we'll have our statistical analysis and performance review. On Tuesday night, I'm doing a special presentation, like I told you in yesterday's amazing masterclass. It's called Restoring Our Children's Health. Restoring Our Children's Health. I'm in a position to where I don't know if I'm going to air it exclusively in our village, or if I'm going to make it public here on YouTube. It depends. And the reason why it depends is because I've got some information that may get flagged, and I just don't feel like dealing with that. YouTube, Facebook, they have different community guidelines. That's why one day I long for the day when I'll have my own platform and I can say whatever I want to say. Every time I do master classes, I get flagged. Every time. You can't say anything that's factual and not get dinged, because we're living in a day and in an age where truth is not accessed by the masses. Narrative is accessed by the masses, not truth. Stories. What people want you to know. What gets the most clicks and likes. So what happens is when you find someone who's speaking truth, it sounds like ain't nobody ever heard it. It's like you didn't know that, because people don't have access to truth. We got information, but we don't have truth. So people out here are making decisions in their lives off of information and not truth. That's powerful. And I hope y'all didn't miss that. We got all this, we got Google, we got all this access. We got artificial intelligence. We got all this information, but very little truth. And people are being manipulated by information. People are being manipulated by information. A lot of folk just have information, but they don't have truth. And that's why we're getting to the point to where truth is becoming subjective. When people start to use things like, well, my truth. Well, why does it have to be my truth? When it's the truth, it doesn't have to be mine. It's truth. You don't have to change it. You see what I'm saying? Let me tell you something, man. I've said this before, and let this be public document. People do not like when Black people, especially men, do anything in their community that lifts it up. When a Black man starts to do anything for Black people that's positive, he becomes a target. Now, I can give you historical examples of that. Okay? I've had this conversation with Lynette. The more people know about what it is that I'm sitting up here trying to do, the more I'm gonna have enemies. But I accept if that's the road God is supposed to take me, because at the end of the day, nothing's gonna happen to me until God says so. You understand that? So what my fate is my fate. I'm here because I want to be an asset to my community. That's what drives me every day. I don't want to be a preacher that folk look at and say he didn't do nothing. So when y'all see me in a Bentley or in a Rolls or whatever it is that the Lord chooses to bless me to have, It ain't gonna be no, oh, he taking the folks' money. No. Hush. Every day I live my life saying, how can I be an asset to Black people? Everybody looks over Black people. Everybody. We're treated like second-class citizens. And we don't even treat ourselves with respect. We don't even treat ourselves with respect. And everything I have ever gotten in life have come from God and Black people. So I'm doing this for my community, and I welcome all other ethnicities, as I've said, openly, to give to you all everything that I'm giving to my own people. But like, at the end of the day, I think it's important for people to know I'm here for Black folk. Period. Because Black people need what y'all are going through. We need it. We need this because too many of us are dying. Too many of us have health issues. Too many of us are in compromised states of being young, going to the doctor on 8, 9 pills. Young people dying of kidney failure. It's a sad place that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. Sad. When you look at the state of our community, it is sad. If you come out here as a Black man and you have a negative message, murder, kill, calling women B's and H's, glorifying drugs, all that foolishness. A lot of people condemn the artist, and I get that because it's easy to say, well, the artists are doing it, and they are. The onus, or at least some of it, has to be on their shoulders. But when you really begin to study history and philosophy, you'll understand that idols are representations of the consciousness of the people. Do y'all feel what I'm saying? Let me say that again. Idols, celebrities who people exalt, whoever they are, whatever they say, whatever they represent, is a representation of the corporate consciousness. Meaning what? Folk love to hear kill, murder music. B's this, H's this, twerk this. Because those lyrics are tapping into a frequency that's within the corporate consciousness of this society that we live in. So if you tired of seeing hearing drill music and trap music, we as a people got to change. We as a people have to shift. And the shift of a people starts with me and you as an individual. Okay? So as I close, once again, thank y'all for joining me. If you're a person who is new, I'm glad you're here on tonight. Check us out on Instagram, Journey Life TV. Check us out on Facebook, Journey Life TV. You're right here on the Journey Life TV YouTube page. You can visit us at www.journeylife.tv. We're going to have our analysis on Monday. We're going to have our special presentation, Restoring the Health of Our Children, Tuesday at 6 p.m. I'll let y'all know how you can consume the content based upon what I said. Thursday will be the first episode of How to Grow Your Own Micro Garden. Salute. Salute. You know, we out here getting money, paying for stuff, bringing it to the people. That's what we do. You feel what I'm saying? Salute with Farmer Fred. Thursday, right here, Journey Life TV YouTube channel. You can share it with your family members, with your friends. 6 p.m. It's a 3-part series. Every episode is less than 30 minutes, so it's not anything that's going to take up a large portion of your evening. We have our next weigh-in next Saturday, masterclass on Saturday. I'll let y'all know what that is. So y'all have an amazing Sunday evening. Salute to my guest, Bobby Johnson. Salute to each of you. Be well, be blessed, and God willing, I'll see you first thing in the morning, and I'll let y'all know that time there very soon. Peace, family.